Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Anarchy podcast. My name is Super, and here with me we have the Troll 2001. Now, this is not a complete interview. This is actually a discussion video on the past, the present, and the future of exploits in Anarchy. So, how are you doing, Troll?
Lovely.
Yeah, you doing lovely tonight? Yes, indeed. Indeedeth. Anyway, um, so to get this started, how do you think exploits have evolved over your time on 2B and Anarchy in general? As if I'm not
They've
mistaken,
gotten so much worse.
as if I'm not mistaken, you're quite well in the whole scene of it. So how do you what's your take?
Exploits have gotten so much worse than they were a few years ago. They used to be some little thing, and now they're just getting worse and worse, just ruining people's playing experience.
Can you maybe give me an example of one of the worst?
One of the worst exploits is the terrain exploit, because if they have the seed like 2B, the seed is public. You can't even post pictures of your base. Like you can't share your creations with anyone.
Yeah, actually, that's something I wanna bring up. But for a change, this is a new thing to the podcast. We are going to be having time cards. So if you look into the in the description, or even in the comments, you will most likely, if not definitely, find a list of times of what gets brought up. So you guys don't have to flip through and listen to the clickbait and all that fun stuff. Anyway, to get this started, if you will, um, how do you think the terrain exploit has changed Anarchy? Or everyone knows of it now. It's pretty much the bane of every character and every player who's ever stepped foot on Anarchy. But can you give us a summary of the destruction and how it's done?
So basically, there's a program that some technical dude made where you just need a segment of like, I think the smallest segment you can get is a 5 by 5 of the land generation. So, like a little chunk, if you have a picture, you can look at the block heights and block locations and stuff. You plug in the coordinates into the thing, and the coordinates of the where that segment of land was genned. It takes a few hours though. If you want it to be a little bit more efficient, you have to get a bigger spread of land. On
To
average,
be
it
more
takes
precise
about
and such.
hmm.
Like to be more precise, you need a bigger land area.
So my suggestion would be a 8 by 8 or a 10 by 10. Um, it just all depends what how much you can see from a video or picture. It makes it a lot harder. So if you're gonna take a picture of your base, have it at like make sure the land is completely terraformed.
Yeah, actually, that was the case with the Drain, Offtopia's Drain, and it was then known that FitMC was one of the ones, or the one, if we're being honest here, who uh, exposed the base because he showed Bedrock in his video, and thus the base got found and demolished. So, Troll, how do you think this ties up to the most? Well, as you said, this was the most destructive and insane exploit. So how do you think it's changed the way we look at Anarchy?
It's just made it a lot harder for people to play. You can't record without being exploited. You can't take pictures without being exploited. You can't really like describe where your base is, what biome, how far out.
Yeah, it's a dangerous world out there. Anyway, uh, now I want to take a little segment away and look at some not as important ones, but decently known and some say equally important ones. Say the boat exploit.
The boat exploit is a lovely little travel exploit that I have used in the past. Um, a few quote unquote, I don't know, popular YouTubers have used it, like Baron Dome and Fit and all those people, to get out millions and millions of blocks within hours. Um, One of my friends, Magic X, made a video on it. I'll give the link to Super so he can put it down in the description.
Yeah, everyone links will be in the description.
Um, well, you need Future to do it unless you have a certain version of WWE. But I don't think that's public. Um, I'll probably put the description, or not description, settings and stuff elsewhere.
Yeah, the settings you need for the future will be on screen right now, and there will be a picture of what will happen, and yeah. Anyways, that will be on screen for you right now. So, can you tell us pretty much how it works?
So you place a boat down in the Nether. It has to be at Y. I don't know. I think 121, almost like below the bedrock, but like high enough up so you won't run into lava pools or little pockets of lava and stuff. And you put a boat down. You put sand over it or gravel, whatever falling block. I think anvils work even if you don't have sand or gravel. And you just have to get the boat up inside of a block, and you turn on phase so you don't deal with any blocks. Entity speed, and you just clip through the world. You go so fast that the chunks do not render, and you can just fly through the world, set entity speed to max. It lags the crap out of any server.
I mean, yeah, of course, because the server's trying to keep up with the mass amount of loading, but it can't, you know. Um, and that's why nothing stops you. It's because it just can't render anything. Anyway,
It works best with lag machines on.
does it really?
Yeah, because the chunks load slower, so it's like, whoop.
Because my next topic for you, and probably something that helps with what lag, or sorry, not helps with lag. Something that doesn't help with lag being on the server are some dupes like the donkey dupe. So can you just give us an example of, or not example? Can you give us an explanation on how that works? Thank you very much.
Which donkey do?
The one everyone knows, the one in the Nether with the pathway and the free cam in
Which
the
one?
impact.
There were multiple. You got the portal one, you got the out of chunk one, you got the lazy chunk.
Let's do the one that I think most people have been familiar with. The out of chunk one, the non-rendering one.
Okay, so you took a donkey, you attached a chest to it, filled it with items. You need two people for this if you're trying to do it on 2B. I don't even
Well,
know.
no, no, you don't need two people. You just need two accounts.
Yeah, well, yeah, yeah. And you take one account, you put it in the overworld, and count with the donkey in the nether. You entity speed through the chunks. Well, before you do that, you want to get off the donkey, go into free cam about 4 blocks behind the donkey, click the donkey wall in free cam, entity speed down the tunnel until chunks stop loading, and your screen just goes black and you're like bouncing up and down. And then you take the other player and run to the chords where you're stuck at. The donkey will be there, your player will not be there. You get the player to disconnect, the donkey will stay. You get the other person to go on the donkey, I guess, if you are going back to your base. And then you get yourself to log back in, and there will be two donkeys with the same amount of items.
Thank you very much for that. Actually, can you give us a little bit of a description on the other ones?
The other one was you get a donkey down to, well, it doesn't really matter if it's a donkey, just any entity down to half a heart. Send it through a nether portal and have cactuses on the other side or whatever damage block you want, preferably a cactus because it's the easiest. It'll die on the side of the nether and will come back into the overworld, and the items will duplicate. Most known donkey dupe, I believe, as it was used in 1.11.2.
Yeah, these things just get OPer and OPer as they go along. So I want to take a look at one of the most recent ones, not the recentest one because I don't think that one's out yet, but I want to take a look at the chunk dupe, the book chunk dupe. So can you give us a I know I'm asking for quite a bit of explanations, but can you give us an explanation on how that one works?
So basically, you just had to fill a chunk with 2 MB worth of data, which the easiest method for that was using book and quills
Yeah,
because they can store 50
cause
pages worth of data.
yeah, because if I'm not mistaken, to those who are watching, Minecraft has a size for each chunk in the save states as 2 MB, and if it goes past that, it can't save properly. So, Joel, as you were saying.
Anything beyond 2 MB, it doesn't save in a chunk, meaning if you put like 3 or 4 MB, only the 2 MB would save, other than the other two. They would just, all those items would just get completely deleted. Um, and basically, once you put 2 MB and you save the chunk, you can use a nether portal to instantly save it, or wait 10, 15 minutes so it saves automatically by the server. It just all depends how much lag there is.
Yeah,
And
yeah, those ones
basically,
don't work too well with so much lag.
yeah.
As sometimes you can get the timing wrong, or just the lag isn't working for you. But nevertheless, thank you very much for that. Can you think of any other duplication glitches that have stayed around throughout the updates? Because I know I can, with the rail and carpet dupes. So now I know it's not a complicated machine, but I will have for you guys an explanation on how it actually works on screen right now. It's quite a nifty little dupe. It's stayed around throughout the updates, just in different variations. Uh, with each update bringing slight differences to the actual machine and mechanics in which it works from. But it's all quite amazing what you can do with just a little bit of ingenuity. But still,
In 1.13, you can use the little coral, dried coral things to do carpet and stuff.
yeah. See, like I said, these kind of dupes have always been part of the game, and it's always great to see them come back because it's a tradition. uh, but still, I do want to go to a topic that a lot of people have had trouble with in the past. Ban books and kicking. So, can you give us an explanation on why a player would get kicked? Not necessarily a reason of, say, a kick bow or a ban book and all that sort of stuff, but can you, give us an idea of the science, the code behind it?
So basically, your inventory can only store a certain amount of data. So when it exceeds that limit, the server tries to kick you to try to like save you or something from your info from being corrupted. So the only way to really help yourself from that is going on Mind Chat or something and slash killing yourself, or asking an owner or an admin to clear your inventory or ender chest or whatever
Yeah,
got wiped.
and but the
So
mind chat thing does not always work.
yeah, I've
Yeah.
noticed.
Yeah, it doesn't always work. Like, you can go in mind chat and do slash kill, but a lot of times it'll kick you before you even get to go into the command. Um, and on 2B2T, as most of our viewers watch from, have fun getting house to get rid of your player, data.
I
But
would not recommend getting a future to have the spammer or whatever client used to set up a spammer to do slash kill. It doesn't work. I've tried. I have no need to try, but I've tried.
yes, troll taking a knee for everyone. uh, it's all good stuff. This just really goes to show on how incredible Minecraft can be bent in certain ways. And speaking of bending and inception, if you will, can we go to Shulk? Yeah, this is a favorite of trolls because he was one of the people, if I'm not, if I'm not mistaken, to find out this. Now, what I'm talking about is the beloved Shulkception. It was all the rage a
Shulker
little.
box inside of a shulker box inside of a shulker box. I called it a
Yeah,
shulker because it reminded me of Inception.
yes, Shulkception. Um, so can you tell us pretty much what it is, if you even can, because the science behind it is still kind of mysterious.
So there was a plugin a while back that allowed it was for to like prevent the speed of which items went through hoppers, and for whatever reason, it allowed shulker boxes to go from a hopper into another shulker box. So that broke a lot of things. It also worked with droppers. I don't think it worked with dispensers, but it worked with droppers and hoppers. You hooked up a hopper into a shulker box, put another shulker box inside of the hopper, and it went straight into the shulker box. Another way to do it, there was a client called Skill Client. I don't know if it still works on there or not, but they took out the code that prevented shulker boxes from being put in other shulker boxes, and you could just fill them. That's what I've done multiple times. I added a picture in our DM a little while ago. Um,
Yeah. it's it's really fascinating on how these things work. Uh, do you feel that exploits have evolved? Like obviously you said earlier that exploits have become more and more overpowered throughout the years, but compared to compared to an exploit, quite a few updates earlier back, can you give us an example of one?
um, let's see. What version? Trying to see if I can think of any. Mm, hmm.
Do 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 do
There
do
was a
do.
free cam exploit back in the earlier versions where if you died and you had free cam on, once you deactivated free cam, it was like doing a slash back and going all the way back to where you died. Um, there was the Nether portal teleportation thing with the beds. I don't know much about it. It was something with no clip on liquid bounce. There's probably videos out there somewhere. I don't know.
That explanation just shows that you never hear of the earlier ones. Like obviously, a couple of them, like the 1111 dupe, were insane, or the 1.12 one where or the 1.12 one where when the sidebar got implemented and you can just dupe by making the crafting tables. That was legendary. That was quite OP. But
That shit ruined every server. 2B got butt fucked.
yeah, 2B is it's a great place, but you never hear of those older exploits, and it just goes to show how things have evolved throughout the years, right, Troll?
Aww.
Hmm? uh, yeah, but it's all quite arbitrary. We make these theories, if you will, about these things being in the game, about having infinite items and the way to do this and that, but then it turns out you can. So it's a small world. Now, to do with small things and items, I want to take a little segue, I'll walk down to modification of items like unbreakables, stacked items, and such. So, can you give us some examples of, item modification throughout the few updates?
I'm going to share a little secret about the Unbreakables. I'm not positive if it's been shared publicly or not. I don't know who knows this, who doesn't know this. I don't know if it's my place to say this, but I'm going to say it anyways. How to
I mean,
make
are you prepared to have it on the podcast?
yes.
Okay, okay, go ahead, man.
So how you make unbreakables? Um, so this was a glitch that was on 2B, where when it was a few months back. There was a glitch with mending that allowed you to get negative, and people duplicated them and made them worse and worse and worse up to like negative 32,000, negative 64,000, all that. Basically, if you combined a negative 31,205 pickaxe with another one in your crafting grid, it would appear that the pickaxe is fully repaired and stuff.
Little
You
did they
take that
know.
item and you enchant it or attach books to stuff in an anvil. I don't know what happens to it if you put it in an enchantment table, if it repairs or not. I don't know. And you would just turn it back into a regular god pick, and it would just be completely unbreakable. It would not break. But the thing about that, it's not entirely unbreakable. I think it just doubles the durability, or makes it like 3 times better or something.
No, no, it has like some no, I think it doubles it if I'm not mistaken, but it's
A normal
just
diamond pickaxe is like 1,500
yeah,
or
no,
something.
it was I think it was like 3,000 something. But
Yeah, it just doubles the durability.
yeah, it doesn't really, take away much from the actual durability of it. Or no,
It's
scratch
not
that. It
technically
does. It does
unbreakable.
give it a lot of durability, but it doesn't change the actual code of the item. Anyway,
If it did, though, that
if it did, ooh,
would,
uh, ooh. Um, is there any other instances that you're not necessarily willing to disclose, but you're willing to remember about modifications of items?
in the enchantment table, I recognize this in a Ray's work video. Um, they found a way to make default NBT tag or default NBT items, like a I don't know, a splash arrow, like an instant damage 2 arrow or whatever arrow, or a potion. You take a potion, you take two of them, or it works better with arrows because you can actually stack them. You take two of them, put them in your first slot or second slot, whatever you want to use. Open an enchantment table. Shift click one of the two. So just shift click it. It goes into the enchantment table and shows it just removes the NBT. So it just looks like uncraftable tipped arrow. And there was a way that you can take them out. I believe it only works in vanilla to actually like get them out without having to glitch it. But I'm pretty sure it works on 2B. Not entirely positive. I'll probably check it out later.
Okay, well, thank you very much for that. Now I think we took a little sidetrack from the whole the ban books and all that fun stuff. So, what happens when you do hold a ban book? Because if I'm not mistaken, it fills up your data for your character. So then you get kicked. Am I correct?
Yes,
Yep.
but that only works if they're different books. If they're the same book, like if it's a stack of 16,
It
you're
just counts
fine.
towards one book.
If there were different books, like differently named, like, I don't know, 1.1, 1.2, 1.1, 1.2, and you just like alternate them throughout your inventory, then that would be a problem. But if they're the same one, it compresses the data. So it acts like it's like not there.
Oh,
It's
okay.
still a
That's
lot of
good to know.
data.
That's good to
But
know. But yeah. Uh, Now to do with ban books and stuff like that. Kicking bows. So can you give us a rundown of how or what they really are?
the bow itself doesn't kick. What it is, you have a shulker of banned books or whatever you want in a shulker box in your offhand, or well, it's supposed to go into your offhand. You take the bow, you shoot at a player until they're almost dead. Right before they're about to die, you want to switch your shulker of banned books into your offhand, and right when the arrow hits them, it kicks the whole server. Pretty
Jesus,
interesting.
Thanos snap. Quite literally the Thanos snap.
I just revealed everyone's.
Yeah. Yeah, you might want to be careful here and there, you know.
I'm gonna
Y-
get doxxed.
uh, fun stuff, right? Yeah, fun stuff.
Not fun stuff for me.
Okay, just know that whatever you say, it's on the podcast, or if you want, you can omit it from the actual cut. So anyway, uh, when it comes, when it comes to whatchamacallit, I'm losing the word in my walnut skull head. Uh, that was some stuttering. Oh
Nut.
yes, that's. I can't believe we've gone all this time without talking about leg machines. So,
Huh.
huh? So there's a reason that they're also in chunks, and that's also to do with the data. So, Troll, can you give us a reason in why leg machines even work?
Good question.
Cause I know you have quite a lot of experience with them.
I don't know how they work. I just know how to make them.
Yeah, you have quite a few designs toward
I
patents to your name.
assume it creates a lot of packets. I don't know. Do not quote me on that. I just feel like it creates a lot of data in one. Like if you have a pillar of, I don't know, let's say redstone lamps, you make a redstone lamp lag machine. You make the twin towers like I did one time. That was an interesting lag machine.
Yeah, there are always something new with each and every design. It's cool.
I
It's cool.
couldn't turn it off. I couldn't turn it off, so I ended up calling them the twin towers because I ended up throwing a missile into them.
Because you couldn't get near them
I couldn't get near it, so I had to put a
with your crap tops.
had to blow it up. I made TNT cannons and all sorts of.
Yes, it's amazing how these things tie in together. But now, if I'm not mistaken, don't quote me on this, but I'm 80% sure I'm right. When it comes to leg machines, when you put them in a chunk and then you give them entities, it sends entities to the server to move and all that fun stuff.
Mhm.
Now again, I'm not completely sure on this, but it's just my estimation that this happens due to the explanations of other exploits and different lag machines and all that stuff. So when you do move them, it reacts with the server, so then it has to send out this and then that to one specific chunk. So maybe, possibly, now I would like someone, maybe if you know how this works in the description, to say possibly it's that it just fills up the chunk with packets, with data, so then it just likes a server. Again, I have no clue, and if I'm wrong, correct me. But nevertheless, that comes to the end of my questioning for you, Troll. Are there anything you want to say or ask me or ask the community?
Um, hmm. What is your no? Let's see. What is one thing that you want to?
What is one thing that I'm sorry
What is one exploit that you want to know?
that I want to know? Huh. I'll deem it the Pearl exploit.
Oh, just had to say that one too.
I
Out
did.
of all
I
the other
really
ones,
did. I really. You know what? I'll take a dupe. You know what? I'll take a dupe. I'll take a dupe.
just had to ask.
Yeah, you did. You did.
Well,
Yeah.
I'll save that one for another day.
Well,
Well, we're not going to disclose that info.
yeah. It's quite touchy, isn't it? But nevertheless, we thank you so much for watching the Anarchy podcast. I'm your host, Super. Uh, I would like to thank you, Troll, for being on the podcast, as you've given us quite a big of an insight on how the inner workings of Minecraft and 2B2T work. Um, Again, I've been your host, Super, with the Anarchy podcast, and I wish you all farewell. Goodbye.
Fuck my friends, they're gone. They all left one by one. And now the summer's done. They don't need no more fun.